The beekeeper. The work of a beekeeper. Interview. Did you get the name Buzz before because you keep bees? Buzz. No, my parents started calling me Buzz before I was born. Interview. How much work is involved in the beekeeping? Buzz. There's a lot of work, and it has to be done at the correct time. A 1 or 2 week delay can affect your honey crop drastically. You have to make sure the queen is laying eggs. You have to look at your bees every 2 to 3 weeks to make sure everything is alright. Removing the honey is a lot of heavy work. I have to lift the honeycomb out of the hives and put it on the truck. Then I carry it into the honey house where I extract the honey. Interviewer: what kind of equipment do you need? But I wear a bee suit to keep my clothes clean. I also wear a veil over my head to protect my eyes and head from sting. I use a smoker to calm the bees. There is a small can with a bellows on it. I build a little fire in there and put the lid on. Where you blow smoke on bees, they think it is a forest fire. They they fill their stomach with honey in case they have to leave their tree. That is why smoke seems to calm them, because it keeps them busy. Interview: how often do you get stung? Buzz: I get stung a couple thousand times a year because I don't wear gloves. Gloves are bulky and hard to keep clean, so they can spread disease. I don't smell up from stings anymore, but they still hurt. I work the bees on nice sunny days around 2 o'clock in the afternoon when all the flowers are producing nectar. When half the bees are out collecting nectar, I only have to deal with the other half. Life in the hive. Interview: tell me about the kinds of bees. But there are queen drones and workers. The queens and workers are female and drones are male. All the bees in hives come from eggs laid by the queen. In springtime, she lays 1,500 to 2,000 eggs a day. Drones are only useful for mating. They don't work at all. Every day they congregate outside the hive, waiting for the queen to fly by. Then they race after her and mate with her. Interview: I thought the queen never left the hive. She flies out. She makes short flights to mate. Other than that, she only lives to swarm. If a second queen develops in the hive, the colony divides. The new queen stays in the old location. The old queen and half the bees find a new place to live. They fill their stomach with 2 or 3 days' supply of honey. They find another place to build a honeycomb. Then they store the honey in this new comb and start laying eggs. Do you know bees make beeswax from glands on their bellies? They scrub the thin sheets of wax off their bellies with their legs. Then they form the wax into the six-sided cell of the honeycomb. People use beeswax to make candles, lip gloss, moisturizer, and decorations. Even the seals underneath your toilet that keep it from leaking are made of beeswax. For health reasons, people eat pollen and royal jelly, a special food that bees make for the queen. Honey is also used in many health and beauty products. Interviewer: how long do bees live? Buzz: queens can live 2 or 3 years. In summertime, drones and workers live for only 4 to 6 weeks because their wings wear out. In the winter, they live longer because they don't fly. In the wintertime, they eat honey and shiver to generate heat. When it is 5 degrees below zero Fahrenheit, um, under 20 degrees Celsius outside, it is 95 degrees Fahrenheit, 35 degrees Celsius in the center of the beehive. This keeps the colony alive during the winter. Interviewer: how many bees live in a hive? But in the summertime, there can be 60,000 to 80,000. Interviewer: how do bees find their way back to the hives? When they leave the hive, they notice where the sun is in the sky. When they come back, they use the sun to find their way. On cloudy or rainy days, bees don't fly because they can't see the sun. Types of bees. Interviewer: are there different kinds of honeybees? There are different kinds of bees from different places. Caucasian bees come from the Caucasus Mountains in Europe. Italian bees come from Italy, and there are bees from Africa. These are all honeybees. America actually has no native honeybees. The Pilgrims and settlers brought bees from Europe on their ships. Then those bees flew all over the United States and built hives. Interviewer: what is the difference between honeybees and killer bees? But there is no difference, other than where they come from. They produce honey just like regular bees. A scientist from South America bred bees from South Africa with South America bees, but the Africanized bees that he created are easily riled up. Hundreds of thousands of bees will attack one animal or person. The Africanized bees, which some people call killer bees, come into a beehive, kick out the bees that live there and take over. They can come back next week. You can come back next week, open your beehive, and suddenly get lots of stings. The bees move in that quickly. People have been trying to get rid of them for 30 years, but Africanized bees and honeybees do the same job. Do you know? Both queen and worker bees have stingers. A worker bee have stingers. A worker bee's stinger has a hook on the end. When a worker bee stings, the sting pulls out some of its inside. This kills the bee, so a bee will only sting when it's live. The hive is at risk. The queen bee has a smooth stinger, so she can sting over and over. Some people are allergic to bee stings. Their throat can swell up and cause breathing problems. People who are allergic to stings must carry a special medicine with them to stop a reaction before it gets too bad. Making honey. Interviewer: do bees use pollen to make honey? But no, they make honey from nectar, the liquid they collect from flowers. The bee goes to the flower and eats the nectar, putting it into her honey stomach. She flies back to the beehives, splits the nectar out, and other bees store it in the comb. Then bees fan their wings to evaporate water from the nectar and make it thick. But the biggest purpose of bees in this country is not to make honey. Their purpose is to pollinate crops like alfalfa, an important animal feed, and melons and almonds. Inside every flower, an underproduced pollen. This is a powder that contains the male cells of the plant. There is also a pistil which produces seed when pollen from another flower bursts on it. When a bee goes into a flower to get nectar, pollen from the another rubs onto the bees. When the bee goes when when she goes to the next flower, the pollen rubs onto the pistil. Different flowers have different flavor of nectar. Orange blossom honey tastes different from apple blossom honey. People with orchards don't have time to keep bees, and they rent bees from me. I take my bees into their orchard at night and leave them for a week or two. After the flowers have fallen off the tree, I take the bees home. When I take my bees to an apple orchard, I get apple blossom honey. If I took them to an orange orchard, I get orange blossom honey. Interviewer: how much honey do you get from one beehive? Buzz: between 60 and 350 pounds, 27 to 159 kilograms of honey a year, depending on the location and how hardworking the bees are. Bees are like people. Some people get up early and work. Interviewer: how do you get the honey out of the comb? But a wax cap seals the honeycomb. I have to cut off the capping and then put the frame into a machine that spins around. This makes the honey fly out of the cell. I give the comb back to the bees and they fill it up again. After the honey comes out, I heat it to thin it. Then I filter out the wax and put the honey in jars. Do you know? Honey never spoils. Bacteria don't grow in it because has too much a- acid. The acid is antibacterial. Putting honey on a burn or a wound will help prevent infection and help the wound heal faster.